Chapter 3. Time to go. Benari is working at his terminal muttering to himself. Maxim and Zephyr are sitting in the customer lounge, watching an episodic vid drama set on a space station. Suddenly, the diminutive alien jumps from his stool, knocking over a piece of equipment that neither ex-peacekeeper recognizes. "Were you two followed?" he shrieks. He taps on his wristcom, and energy fields spring to life around the front entry area. Maxim and Zephyr look at each other.
No, and we didn't even leave our cargo bot outside. We sent it to the spaceport to wait. Why?
Both are standing now, looking tense. Benari runs back to the primary workstation and tosses them each a wristcom.
"These are done. We have company. Someone must have spotted you."
He waves his hand in a gesture that must have been a trigger motion, as several screens light up suddenly, showing external views of the storefront. At least a dozen peacekeepers are standing in the street outside the front door. One of them is holding what looks like a doorbuster, a device designed to hack into a door's security protocols, and failing that, to generate an explosion to blow said door in. Maxim and Zephyr both draw their newly acquired sidearms, looking around for defensible positions. There's no shortage of junk in the space, but none of it seems like it'll stop a blaster bolt, and certainly not a dozen or two of them. "Good luck!" Benari screams from a doorway that neither ex-peacekeeper could say was there a moment ago. It is already starting to close after him.
"Wait!"
Zephyr calls, racing towards the closing door. She reaches it just in time to jam her pulse pistol into the gap.
"Come on, Maxim!"
He rushes over, and they both pry the door open just enough to slip through. The door clicks closed behind them, and up ahead they see the small Braylac trundling along a secret hallway. Benari groans loud enough that they can hear, then shouts over his shoulder,
"Come on, then. You better not slow me down or get me noticed and killed."
Somewhere along the way, the small green-skinned being has grabbed a scaled-down energy rifle. Maxim decides to ask about that later. They're in a hallway running along the back wall of the store, which reaches well past where the store ended. Does this hallway go into the shop next door? What is next door? Maxim can't recall. He's getting sloppy. He can't remember whether it was open or closed or just an abandoned shop. He'd never have made that mistake a cycle ago when he was a peacekeeper. Lives depended on knowing these things. They've barely run 5 meters when the building shakes. Through the wall they can hear shouting. The breach team is following peacekeeper protocol, announcing themselves loudly while stunner grenades explode all around. The sound of failing energy shields can clearly be heard too. It is doubtful Benari expected his defenses to come up against peacekeepers. Is this hallway shielded? If not, the peacekeepers will pick up their body heat in seconds. Seeming to sense Maxim's thoughts, Benari calls back,
"Don't worry, I've reinforced this hallway. We should be clear for at least another few ticks. Then you two are on your own. I don't want you dragging me down or getting me shot."
Maxim growls under his breath. Without warning, Benari breaks left through a hatchway that's barely visible in the wall. Suddenly, they're in the alley behind the shops, about 4 stalls down. There's trash on both sides of the door, and Zephyr realizes that this is intentional. Behind the piles, they're clear of the secret hallway and able to look up and down the alley without being seen by anyone else in the alley. A good thing, because 6 peacekeepers are standing around the back door of the store Benari recently called home. "Okay, bye," the creature whispers to them before heading off in the opposite direction. Maxim isn't even sure he knows the name of the spaceport or the city that surrounds it, but he assumes it's a common name to match the nondescript nature of the place. All that's visible is rundown buildings, shops, and residences. Nothing looks new. Certainly nothing shines, as it's all uniformly covered with a layer of grime, which he can only hope is just dirt.
"You know where you are, right?"
Zephyr whispers after the retreating hacker.
"You're not safe either. Help us get to the spaceport, and we can keep you safe. Will keep you safe."
Benari stops and stands for a few seconds, considering. Then he turns his head.
"Fine, come on."
He continues on, this time at a run. The three are soon running as fast and as quiet as they can, the small green-skinned hacker in the lead, winding this way and that through what feels like progressively more disgusting alleyways. "Where are we going?" Maxim whispers. Luckily, his peacekeeper training means that even as fast as Benari is running, it's no more than a fast walk for Maxim. "The spaceport isn't in this direction."
I know that. You think I don't know that? I've lived in this piece of crap joint for the last 5 cycles. You think I don't know where the spaceport is?
Benari screech whispers, without turning his head.
I have a cache a few blocks from here. We'll stop there, then head to your ship.
As far as the two ex-peacekeepers can tell, they're not being pursued. There's no indication they were seen leaving Benari's workshop. Knowing what to look and listen for, both are as certain as they can be that no drones are following them. It isn't a 100% certainty, but it is the best they can manage. Peacekeeper drones are meant to be quiet, but not silent, which is a good thing. Peacekeepers don't launch drones unless they need to, so it's possible they aren't taking this issue seriously, given the location. Benari comes to a stop, brushing dirt and grime off a control pad next to a door that looks nearly rusted shut. He punches in a code, and with a louder than ideal groan, the door slides inward. Squeezing through the gap, the little hacker whispers back,
"Come on, push that closed when you get in."
When Zephyr and Maxim enter the small space beyond, they find themselves speechless. No more than 3 meters wide in each direction, the room is packed with shelves and piles of equipment and weapons. Benari is running from rack to rack, climbing, grabbing, tossing. He's swapping out things he has in his pockets for new things, none of which Maxim or Zephyr recognize. The pockets of his jumpsuit are beginning to bulge, and there's a large pack in the middle of the room nearly full.
"I just need another minute," he pants.
"What's the rush?" Maxim asks, just as the lighting shifts from harsh white to red. A speaker hidden somewhere in the room emits 3 sharp beeps, then goes silent. "What was that?" Maxim and Zephyr are looking all around the chamber.
"That, you big jinx, means they're here. Well, not here, but on this block. Someone tripped one of my early warning sensors. They're placed all around the ends of the alley."
Benari climbs down one set of shelves, drops something in the pack, and is immediately up another set of shelves, rummaging around for something else.
"They must have a drone or two in the area, and it spotted us leaving. The alarm means they're in the alleyway we just came from." "How are we going to get out of here? Is there another exit?"
Zephyr asks, looking around the room, not seeing another door or a hallway, other than the one they've come from. It's not an ideal space for a last stand, but at least the doorway is a natural choke point. Dropping back to the ground and slipping another unidentifiable piece of tech into the pack, Benari closes the pack and looks at the ex-peacekeepers.
"I hope your sense of smell isn't very strong."
He hefts the bag and shoves some things aside to reveal a grate in the floor.
"Oh no,"
whispers Zephyr.
"Please no."
The team grows more. Wil is walking back through one of the food vendors' alleys when he sees a troop of peacekeepers crossing to the next intersection, heading for, among other things, the shopping district. It could be anything. Peacekeepers aren't exactly commonplace on Fury, but seeing them isn't unheard of. Even on a planet like Fury, if the criminal is valuable enough, the peacekeepers will show up. "Oh shit," Wil mutters. As casually as he can, he whispers into his wristcom, "Ghost, begin pre-flight procedures." He drops his arm back down without even waiting for the voice of the ship to confirm his order. Wil turns down a street that will take him more directly to the spaceport. If his 2 new crew members are in trouble, they need to figure out on their own. If they can get to the Ghost, he can get them off-planet. But there isn't much he can do against a full squad of armed peacekeepers, especially when there is likely far more than one squad. If word has gotten around about his crew members, they're screwed. Shit, he mutters as he winds his way through the crowd and the stalls hawking all manner of food, or things that might be food. He has a sidearm, but a fat lot of good it'll do him in this scenario. As he crosses from the city into the spaceport proper, he sees two large peacekeeper troop transports sitting on the tarmac. Shit, 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 he mutters, as he walks as fast as he can, trying to look as inconspicuous as he can. Each transport holds 2 squads, so there are at least 4 full peacekeeper squads in the area. The downside of being the only human in the sector, at least as far as Will knows, is that you stand out in a crowd. Plenty of races look a lot like humans. Peacekeepers, for example, look pretty close, except for the spots, and the entirely different internal arrangement of organs, and the cranial ridges where their hair should be. Ankarans are similar too, except for the bluish tint to their skin and the dexterous tail. A few others look similar, but no one seems to be an exact match. And so a human walking fast across the spaceport isn't that easy to ignore. "Hey! You there! Stop!" an amplified voice rings out. "Shit!" Will mutters again and slows down. He concentrates on looking as innocent as he can. "Who, me?" he says, slowly raising his hands away from his side, the universal gesture for, "Don't shoot me." "Where are you going?" A peacekeeper walks up to Will, rifle at their side. With the face shield down, Will can't tell one trooper from another, which is likely done on purpose. Faceless armies are more terrifying after all. "What's your business here? Show me your ident, please." "Oh, me? I'm just going to my ship, officer. Did I do something wrong?" Will tries to look sheepish as he transmits his ident from his wristcom. Well, it's an ident, one of many Will has purchased over the years. This one is from a small-time cargo hauler who barely makes the payments on his cargo ship. Hopefully the trooper won't be too nosy, since there's no actual ship here at the spaceport that would match the record in the ident. Will is now rethinking his previous frugality when it comes to buying fake idents. "What kind of name is Han Solo?" The opaque face shield moves from the pad the trooper is holding to Will's face. "Well, I certainly didn't just make it up. Is there a problem here?" They seem to be just harassing people at random, so Will decides to play the umbrage card, see if he can't speed things along. "Look, no offense, officer, but every fraction of a talk I spend with you, I'm not billing." He's tapping his foot now, doing his best to casually keep his long coat over his pistol. A weapon on Fury isn't illegal, and it'd be more suspicious to be unarmed. But there's no reason to give the trooper any reason to start asking more questions or to dig deeper into Will's identity. The trooper holds up their pad so Will can see it. "Seen either of these two? They're considered armed and dangerous." Well, at least Will knows for sure now why the peacekeepers are on Fury. Someone must have spotted them on their shopping trip because right there in living color, using what's likely the prisoner intake photos from the Partherians, are Maxim and Zephyr. "Nope, never seen them." "They're Pelorians? Didn't know you guys ever went rogue." Or whatever. Will tuts as the trooper lowers the pad. "No one is perfect. They were last seen in the shopping district behind this spaceport, so be careful. And if you see anything, call it in. Don't engage them." "Sure thing. I'll do that. That all?" Toe still tapping, one hand on his hip, Will is looking as put out as he possibly can. "That's it. Carry on, citizen." The trooper turns to walk away, and Will spins on his heel to head toward the back of the spaceport. It's going to be tricky, if not impossible, for Zephyr and Maxim to get to the Ghost. Well, shit. All that money down the drain. He shakes his head. Now I gotta start looking for new sidekicks all over again. Fuck. Everyone's here. "I might have to have my nose surgically removed after this," her voice sounding nasally as her fingers pinch her nose. "This is disgusting." "You two can't turn your smell off? That sucks. Makes this much easier. Maybe try breathing through your mouth?" Benari suggests from the front of their little group as they trudge through the sewers under the spaceport. "You sure you know where this ship is? Once we pop back up to the surface, I doubt we'll have more than a few fractions of a talk before a drone or some sharp-eyed trooper spots us. I'm still not sure being with you two is really the safe bet, but running around a spaceport is definitely a bad idea." If your map of this facility is accurate, the ship is where we pointed,
Maxim says, doing his best to breathe only through his mouth, but somehow still smelling the foul mix of, well, he doesn't know what and doesn't want to, and also somehow tasting it. As it is, he's convinced they'll be burning their boots and possibly their pants the moment they get to the Ghost. Such a waste of brand new clothes. A few minutes later, they come to a halt. The faint light from above is filtering down into the drain from a metal grate overhead. Benari looks around and then down at the pad he's holding. Okay, I think this is as close as we're going to get to Wil's ship. Big man, you hoist me up. I'll take a look around before we make a break for it. And if you don't see his ship, Zephyr asks, then we're well and truly growlacked, the little being says, for the first time sounding as deadly serious as the situation warrants. There are plenty of other gates, but I somehow doubt your ride is going to wait around forever for you to return, especially if he's picked up on the Peacekeeper's presence. I can't imagine he likes you that much. Maxim lifts Benari up above his head, and they hear the scraping of metal as the small hacker lifts the grate and looks around. You said it was an Ankaran raptor, right? He whispers down.
Yes,
Maxim answers as a small foot kicks him in the face.
I'll never be clean again,
He mutters, spitting something onto the ground. Then it's right there. Good job on the location, you two. It's maybe 100 meters away. Smart to park it this far out. I don't see any troopers, and drones would be a flight hazard. Okay, ready? He looks down at Maxim under his feet, and Zephyr next to him. Both nod. Benari slides the metal grate aside and leaps off Maxim's shoulders. He doesn't reappear. That little slime weasel, Zephyr hisses as she climbs up Maxim's back and out of the hole. Seconds later, she leans down, bracing herself to help the much larger man climb up out of the sewer. About halfway to the Ghost, a tiny green being with a huge backpack is trotting as fast as his little legs will carry him. Maxim climbs up and out of the opening and slides the grate back into place. The two take off at a run for the relative safety of the Ghost. As they overtake Benari, they lift him and his huge backpack off the ground. Zephyr takes the bag, while Maxim takes the wriggling and screeching Benari.
Don't make me drop you,
Maxim hisses, and the little hacker goes quiet. As they approach the Ghost, Zephyr sees Wil sitting in a chair at the top of the cargo ramp, reading something on a pad. He puts the pad down on his lap and looks up at their approach, slowly raising a blaster pistol. You know, I didn't think I'd see you two again. I'm pretty impressed. Oh, hey, Benny. He waves as they stop at the foot of the ramp. Why'd you bring him with you? He points the pistol at Benari. Benari wriggles free of Maxim's grip as they enter the cargo area, dropping with a thud. You burned me, you krebneck. Peacekeeper stormed my workshop, then followed us to one of my caches. I can't stay here now. He stomps off up into the crew compartment of the ship, shouting back, Oh, and I saved them. You're welcome. Wil looks at Zephyr and Maxim. 3 things. First, unlock your bot, and I'll get it unloaded, since you can't be seen. He points to where the dutiful little cargo bot is sitting near the edge of the Ghost's cargo ramp. Maxim hadn't even noticed it there in their haste to get on board. Then take those clothes off, toss them out on the tarmac, and get showered. He throws them some overalls, much like the ones Zephyr had worn into the shopping district. Maxim walks back down towards the bot, reciting his authorization code, and begins stripping out of his utterly disgusting brand new outfit.
I like these boots,
he mutters as he tosses them, grime-encrusted, out of the hold. The past. Wil has been sitting in his crippled space pod for a day, transmitting his automated distress call, watching the onboard diagnostics fail, then fail again, then again. He's debating his next steps. Stay here adrift for another, 2 days based on his supply levels? Or sit on the hull until his suit air runs out? Or there's always the small pill in a pouch on the chest plate of his suit, a pill every astronaut ever has taken with them on their missions. A pill none of them have ever had to use. Not exactly the first I was hoping for. He's reaching for the pill when a blinding light fills the small cockpit. What the?
He can't see anything but the light. He's looking all over, trying to understand what's happening. As the light gets closer and closer, until he finally sees the edges of it, lowering down over his craft. Or is he rising? It's hard to tell in space with no other objects relative to him. As the light fades, he feels his pod settle on something. He looks around and sees he's in some type of ship. That much is obvious. It must be a cargo hold or shuttle bay or something. There are no other vessels around, and it's not that large a space, so he decides it's a cargo hold. Why is he in it? He seals his suit. Who knows what atmosphere is out there? Neither his suit or the pod were designed to look for breathable atmosphere, let alone test it. Then he pops the hatch on the cockpit and crawls out. Damn this flight suit, he thinks. No external speakers or mic, so he can't talk to anyone he does find without opening the visor, or if they breathe methane, he's definitely toast. Shit. He can't see anyone. Maybe the ship is automated? Then he feels deck plates rumble a little and can feel footsteps. He spins around and sees 3 aliens standing in front of him. 2 have weapons pointed at him. The other looks unarmed, but is wearing a long coat and some kind of spacesuit under it. None of them have masks on or any type of breathing equipment, but they're all very clearly different species. So they all breathe the same atmosphere. While Will looks at the trio, a 4th alien appears and walks over to his pod. It crawls up into the cockpit and connects a hand terminal to it. Aliens use Thunderbolt? Will looks at the 3 in front of him, then the alien crawling around his pod and back to the 3. They're talking. He can see their lips moving, but his suit isn't set up for audio once sealed, so he can only hear muffled sounds. He's trembling, standing in front of 4 aliens, 2 of which are armed and pointing their weapons at him. The one he assumes is the leader waves to get his attention. He, she, it. Will isn't sure, but assumes the alien is male. It makes a gesture that looks like he wants Will to remove his helmet. Well, I was about to commit suicide, so I guess if they breathe methane, the end result is the same, he says to himself as he unseals the helmet and lifts it up off his head. Hi there, the lead alien says. I'm Lanksham, the captain of this ship, and you are? Hi. Will blinks a few dozen times. Think it's damaged? One of the armed aliens asks Lanksham, who elbows it in the side and makes a growling sound. I'm, Wil Calder, from Denver, Colorado, in, America, the United States of America, on planet Earth. Will stammers. They speak English? He thinks to himself. Okay, well, hello, Wil Calder, from Denver, Colorado, planet Earth. As I said, I am Lanksham. This is my ship, the Reaper, and we picked up your beacon. He looks over at the smaller alien still pawing at Will's craft. Anything we could use to sell? The small alien pops up out of the cockpit and wiggles one hand. Apparently, this is the universal gesture for, not really. Not a lot. Pretty primitive stuff. Surprised this one lived. Looks like maybe a first attempt at FTL? It looks at Will, who nods. Second, actually. Yeah, nothing here we can use. But we can probably strip it down for materials to melt down. Will turns at that. Hey, that's my ship you're talking about. He starts to move toward the craft, and the 2 aliens surrounding Lanksham snap their weapons up, stopping Will dead in his tracks. Actually, it's my ship. Such as it is, it's salvage. Lanksham's voice is calm. Technically, of course, you have to be dead for it to be salvage. So take care what your next words or actions are. They could be the difference between us taking you with us or us leaving you here. Lanksham is a little over 2 meters tall. His skin has a bluish tint and his eyes are larger than humans and are a bright, startling yellow. Otherwise, though, he's remarkably human-like. He has 4 fingers and a thumb on each of his 2 hands, on his 2 arms, and a head about the size of a human's. There's no lanky, skinny body and oversized head like in the abduction movies. He's got white hair, too. The other three in the room are all sort of similar. The small one is a bit more alien abduction movie looking, bigger head, little body, frail looking limbs. It seems like this one has 3 fingers, not 5, and he's only a meter or so tall. Okay, Will decides, the other two aren't that similar. They're a little taller than him and muscled. One is red and the other a milky white. The red one has small horns running upwards from his nose, right over into his bald head, while the white one has greenish hair done up in a top knot on its mostly shaved head. Yeah, not that similar at all. Will looks the alien captain in the eyes. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry. Sorry, NASA. Don't think you're gonna get your spacecraft back. Hope it's insured. For that matter, am I insured? Will muses.